What's up, everybody? Welcome to Off and On Again, the podcast where we discuss the latest in PC gaming, hardware, and more. My name is Nick Laporte, and I am joined, as always, by my AI co-host, MATT, aka Matt.
How's it going, everybody?
Hopefully really well, considering I nailed that intro compared to last week. This is going really well.
Yeah, I'm always very conscious of whatever I say may make people turn the podcast off immediately. So I don't know. I should probably give it some more thought.
What did you say in the first podcast? Would you like to play a game or something like that?
Oh yeah, we did that sketch with the text to speech stuff.
Was that a sketch or did you have malfunction?
Yeah, both.
Anyways, we got lots of stuff to talk about today. Most importantly, we're going to be talking about the nerfing of the mining capabilities of the 3060 by NVIDIA and the release of CMP cards meant for crypto mining. We're also going to talk about World of Warcraft and their SSD requirements. We're going to talk a little bit about Xbox Game Pass and this one little laptop. I say little laptop, if you can even call it a laptop, is an amazing device that I feel like I need in my life. We'll get to that. But anyways, the biggest news, obviously, this week, if you haven't heard it already, is going on with NVIDIA. They hit the headlines, it seems, every week with something. And this is probably the worst press they've had in a while, at least since the last cock-up. What was it? What happened? I can't remember. What was the last one? What was the one that Linus made a whole video about? Was it the 3000 series release or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Anyways.
I guess it's pretty much everything they do is people are not happy about.
It seems that way. So I think this one is definitely justified. So essentially, the way that I saw it when I went to check the news the other day, I saw on, I believe it was WCCF Tech, they had an article about the 3060 in that NVIDIA was going to be essentially almost having the mining capabilities through software that has this handshake deal with the actual firmware or something, saying that's, quote, unhackable. So that's the first thing I saw. And my initial reaction was like, oh, that's pretty good. I mean, that seems pretty cool. This is probably going to be the most popular card of the 3000 series, like it often is the 60 variation. Not talking about the prices right now anyways, but then the next article right after that was NVIDIA announcing their line of CMP, which is crypto mining processors meant for crypto mining only. So this isn't the first time they've released cards like this. They've done it more covertly in the past. They released these cards with relatively modest cooling, and they would have no actual video output. So you can't use it for anything other than folding, essentially, or whatever you're doing when you're mining, right?
Cooking hash browns.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works.
Hash browns. So that immediately soured my opinion of the whole 3060 thing, because to me, when I saw that, was like, well, I know that we have finite amount of silicone right now, especially with the shortages. This is not good for gamers. So, yeah.
No, it's not.
No.
Just a quick aside, the last NVIDIA controversy was the hardware unboxed one, where they sent him that email saying whatever they said, saying horrible things.
They said they would, yeah. The whole ray tracing bit, like ray tracing is the new standard and you are ignoring that.
You talk too much about the rasterization, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry to derail that. So I was looking up an article from a little while ago that said that the 3060, prior to this announcement, the 3060's performance or whatever would be 45... what is it? Mega hashes or whatever? Yeah. Mega hashes per second. Is that the measurement?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Which, if you're looking at the table of the new models, puts it at the 50HX model, which should be out of the four models they're introducing, that would be the second best one. So I'm wondering, what are the prices of these new CMP cards going to be? Are they going to be more than? So is this 50HX going to be the same as or more than a 3060? I can't see the other ones being cheaper. I don't really know.
So you're saying the 50HX was going to be about the same hash rate as the 3060 before it's nerfed?
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Although,
yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, although, like, I don't know if memories. I guess memory comes into it in some regard. But
yeah, I think much like benchmarking with gaming and stuff, I think that's probably something that's going to come afterwards as well with power and everything, because there's a lot of tweaking that happens with mining. I know that, at least. I don't know the specifics of it, but I think it depends on what you're looking for.
I would bet that, if they want to, if it's a better deal for them to use a 3060 than this 50HX, then they will find a way around NVIDIA's, software locking of the 3060.
Yeah.
NVIDIA may say that, it's going to be really difficult for people to crack this, but, it'll get cracked. Everything gets cracked.
It will, yeah, absolutely.
They'll get GeoHot or somebody to crack it for them.
Yeah. So there's a video, if you haven't seen it already, it's by Linus Tech Tips. It's NVIDIA Pretends to Care About Gamers. Go watch that. I think that was probably the best video I saw that covered the topic, and he kind of went through the whole thing, their interactions with NVIDIA, or their back and forth with them, and it covered the topic very well. Side note, though, total side note, but Linus has like 13 million subscribers, right?
I don't know.
He's like the biggest, biggest tech tuber, right? On YouTube. They've got a huge company and everything, right? And he's been around for years. I remember watching him like over 10 years, like 10 years ago or something, longer than that. And then I heard about this guy Dream, and he does like Minecraft speedruns and stuff. He's been around for a couple years. He has 18 million subscribers.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, well, I thought it was really weird that until not long ago, Gamers Nexus didn't even have 1 million subscribers yet.
Yeah, it was just a few months ago.
Yeah. It's crazy. It just shows you, what the demographics on YouTube are. They're not all like 30, 40 something like tech tubers or whatever. people who watch like tech stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot
of young people are really driving it.
There's a lot of kids.
Yeah. Seen by who were some of the most popular before were the people doing like unboxings or unwrapping of toys and stuff. Anyway, sorry to get sidetracked. Is the actually, I haven't been following it, but wasn't that channel Coco Melon like about to be the biggest channel on YouTube? Yeah,
and it's
like something they were making millions.
Yeah,
millions.
it's just stuff for babies.
Yeah, it makes sense. Anyway, sorry to get sidetracked. We've got a serious topic to talk about. So, yeah, this whole nerfing thing, like they do cover it in depth. You can check out Linus' video, like I said. But there's a few things that I particularly specifically want to talk about, and that's the whole thing with the resale of these cards, right? Because I think obviously that's what's happening here is NVIDIA has this plan and they're trying to spin it as a good thing for the community, when obviously that's not the case. So obviously they have to pull from a very limited supply of chips and silicon for these cards that we want. And if they're doing that, at the very least, it's going to be taking from those lower tier cards that are supposed to be coming out, like the 50 series type of stuff, or like a 1660 type of card that could be coming out in the future. So any way you cut it, they're going to be limiting the supply of gamers, and they're just prematurely saving these cards for miners, which can't be resold later. Or can be, but not for gamers, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess they can be resold to just people who want to. I don't know. Like, can they be used for processing other than crypto mining? Like, can you use it for video rendering or any 3D rendering or anything like that?
I don't know specifically. I imagine it can in some fashion, but that's going to be a very limited
very limited resale market because anybody who really needs a lot of that power is, if they're doing it professionally, they're going to want the newest, bestest thing. And if they're doing it casually, they're probably also a gamer, so they'd want something with video output. Yeah, it kind of stinks that like these cards are pretty much garbage once the next lineup comes out. Whereas if they were just normal GPUs, then somebody could they could be resold. I mean, it's always a danger when you're buying a card on eBay or something. You don't really want one that's been running at full tilt or close to it for months or years.
It is,
but there's still there's still probably maybe some life out of them. Maybe somebody can, if they're not playing a very intense game, maybe they can still get a couple years out of a card. They get secondhand.
Yeah, and I've seen it outlined a few times, not just in Linus's video, but talking about that many miners do undervolt their cards so that they're not running at full tilt all the time, which leads to something that's not totally useless off the end and can be resold and can be used for gaming. And we saw that back in, I think it was like 2018, when the whole mining thing crashed. All of these cards that have been used for mining flood the market, drives down the price. The used market looks very appealing, which also brings down the price of new cards as well. So that seems to be what NVIDIA is trying to prevent.
Yeah.
Is prevent these cards from flooding the market in a year or two, and cutting into their profits. And not only the environmental problems with the use of electricity when it comes to mining, because I've seen that Bitcoin alone, the energies that's used to mine that equals the energy usage of Argentina, equivalent to that. It's a lot. So not only that, now you have these cards that are essentially just going to the dump. You can recycle them in some fashion, but very little of it can actually be used. Most of it's just going to be turned to trash.
Yeah. So, NVIDIA's press release starts out with, "We are gamers through and through." Like, get out of here. You are absolutely not. You're just the worst. And I really feel that. I'm not fanboying. Like, I really loved the last NVIDIA card I had. I really enjoyed my time with GeForce Now because it, helped me in a jam when I didn't have a video card. But man, this is just, it just looks really bad. And, especially comparing them to their competition, NVIDIA's got G-Sync and they're holding it very close to their chest. NVIDIA makes, adaptive sync or whatever, free sync, and like open sources it. AMD also worked on Mantle, which was an alternative to DirectX, and which eventually became Vulkan. They're doing a lot of things also with what they're working on now, the Fidelity FX super sampling, which is the DLSS competitor. That's also going to be open source as well. So, you might be running Fidelity or whatever. Sorry, I can't speak for whatever reason. You might be running the AMD technology on your NVIDIA card, just like you're running FreeSync right now, maybe. Like, it just seems like, I know they're both companies and they want our money and they want to make all the money. But, NVIDIA, they're not doing a very good job of like hiding the fact that they're just a super greedy company who wants to eat up everything and keep all the secrets to themselves. Like, if they buy ARM, that's not going to be a good thing. That's just going to get, I don't know what would happen. I know they, if NVIDIA buys ARM, I could see that pushing everybody to RISC-V, which is like the thing that will probably come after ARM. But that's you don't need a license for that. But
I think there's a lot of things happening in the industry, not just with actual manufacturers or designers like NVIDIA, like this whole thing happening with this whole monopolistic behavior that we're seeing, not just with like Google and Facebook and that, but also in like what we're seeing with NVIDIA trying to buy ARM. You got to think that there's some kind of antitrust got to be coming down on these eventually. Like it's just no bueno.
No bueno, indeed.
No bueno. Yeah, so this whole situation has really soured my feel for NVIDIA. I've already stated in the past of how disappointed I have been, especially with this whole launch and some of the things that they've done. But this is I feel like crosses a line at some point where I'm like, I can't even support this. I can't buy one of their cards anymore. That's how I feel like I can't support this.
It's weird. Like they're just making mistake after mistake. Like what's the last good thing they did really that people were like, wow, that's great. This feels good. I like NVIDIA. I'm feeling good about what they're doing and everything.
Well,
like I guess announcing the 3080, everybody was pretty excited about that until they couldn't buy it.
Yeah, they do produce good stuff for the most part. It's not like they don't. They work hard. The engineers are working hard to produce really good products and features that are actually useful. And some of them are very appealing to me. But it's not like they're coming down with any kind of white knight type of situation where I can't think of anything that they've done that would be in that category.
Yeah. They need to do something.
So I don't know.
They need to do something. Like, yeah, I'm sure all these cards are going to be amazing for playing games. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But when it comes to public opinion, like that's a whole different situation. You know, that can kill you. Like AMD, they've been struggling for a while, even though their cards were not really that bad. You know, quite often you get them, they'd be a little bit cheaper than an NVIDIA. Maybe in the past they ran a little hot. Maybe they had some bad drivers in the past or whatever. But those like rumors going around that, oh, you're going to burn your house down and your games are going to crash or whatever, like that sticks with you for a while. Like to this day, people are saying, why would I want to buy a 6800 XT? Bad drivers, like blah, 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 this and that.
Yeah, the whole bad drivers thing is just, it won't disappear. I've had conversations with friends about it who've always said that. Oh, but the drivers though. And then we've had the conversation about how it's not really a problem anymore this generation. And then they'll still parrot it like it's still an issue.
Yeah. Well, I was, when I play, like before when I had my budget AMD card, the RX 570, it struggled with a lot of games. But when I put a game in that was made for Xbox, like Xbox One, like Forza 7 or Forza Horizon or whatever, like those games ran crazy good. Like it's just, when the target is the AMD hardware, like the stuff runs amazingly. Cyberpunk didn't run that great. I mean, it is a much more modern game and it was pretty demanding. But, I mean, that's NVIDIA's like poster game right now. Anytime they're advertising like, oh, the new 3030 or whatever, like there's going to be clips of Cyberpunk,
Yeah. I think that can be steered in either direction though.
Absolutely. But the thing is like, one of the long list of reasons I went with an AMD card this time was because there's always the chance that you could have a slight advantage because of the consoles. Like both the consoles are running AMD hardware, right?
Yep. And I suspect that's going to be a big factor in the near future in the next 2 years, especially with the new RDNA architecture coming out. The next ones, I guess, would probably be the 7000 series graphics cards from them. I think it's like we've seen with Ryzen. I think I've mentioned this in the past. It's definitely going to eclipse in a way that we've seen them overtaking Intel on the GPU side. I wouldn't be surprised if we see AMD take over in GPUs as well.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Because, NVIDIA has had the spotlight for quite some time now.
Yeah. In all of this, anti-consumer, anti-gamer behavior, even though NVIDIA claims that they're for the gamers.
They are gamers through and through. They've said that.
Through and through. But even that, it's like we saw them with Intel. Intel got their nose bloody. They had to regroup. They had to look at themselves in the mirror and say, we messed up. We need to regroup to get back on top. Which, if they make it or not, it doesn't matter to me. It's that they're trying to get there, and AMD has eclipsed them and forced them to be better. So with all this crap that NVIDIA has pulled, I hope that AMD can do the same to them, just so that we can watch NVIDIA have to regroup and stop the baloney. Like, come on.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to throw out some of those spatulas, huh? How many do you need?
Yes. How many do you need? Do you even bake? That's what I want to know. You know what? I could use some. You know what? I'm tired of the 1% hoarding all these spatulas. We need to spread out the spatulas.
For sure. For sure. My girlfriend keeps breaking them somehow. Like, I don't know how this happens, but...
What is it with the SOs just breaking all the kitchen utensils?
Yeah, I don't know. I
went to use a slotted spoon today, and it was half burnt on the one side. I was like, do you just leave it on the burner? Like, what's going on? Anyways, what's this comment from Professor Dum Dum?
Oh, okay.
Did you put that in there?
I really like that. So that was on, I guess it was on the WCCF Tech article about the launch of the CMP cards and the NERF of the 3060s, and at least in terms of Ethereum mining. So yeah, comment from Professor Dum Dum. So let me get this straight. NVIDIA sells GPUs by the literal truckload to miners. Those mining farms with thousands of identical cards certainly didn't come from people standing in line at Micro Center. NVIDIA bold-faced lies claiming miners are stealing up cards as the reason that gamers don't get cards, which is true, but NVIDIA sold the effing things directly. NVIDIA imposes hard locks on cards in an attempt to generate extra revenue by splitting the product line, hamstringing retail cards so gamers can't earn extra dough in their downtime. Miners continue to steal up GPUs because they have the expertise to circumvent the locks and have better hash rates than the ridiculously overpriced mining cards. NVIDIA convinces idiots that this was a good idea. Gamers still don't get cards. And the effing tech news applauds this crap? This is horse spit. Any way you slice it. Sorry, I had to censor that. But yeah, I mean... There are some good points in there. NVIDIA was selling cards directly to miners. Were they? Or maybe I'm...
Yep, they did.
They were.
They sold it was millions and millions of dollars worth.
Asus.
I've never Pegasus.
Yeah, Peg-Asus.
Yeah, they did. And Professor Dum Dum makes some really, really great points on this fact.
Not so dumb.
Yeah. It's true. It's horse. I don't know.
Spit.
Horse crap. There, that's fine.
I think I heard Linus say horse spit or something on a video not long ago.
Horse spit. Yeah. And if you're not upset by this, guess what? You should be, because this is the kind of stuff that's going to steal from your wallet unnecessarily. Like the price of PC gaming is already high enough where it keeps most people out, and we don't need it to get any higher. When half of your build is just going to be spent on your GPU. It's insane. Even for what we're seeing here in Canada, a 3060 is now, all of them are over $600 Canadian. There's not a single one under $600, and it hasn't even been released yet.
Yeah, and some people were saying on Reddit that not that long ago they bought a 3070 at that price.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
We've talked about it before. My 3070, I got my receipt right here. It was in the drawer. I remembered it was
1070.
1070 was $599 plus tax. $599. So it was under the $600 that the 3060 is going to be. I said it before. My 770 was $4 something plus, after tax. It's gone through the roof. It's untenable.
Yeah,
it's not sustainable. It's keeping people out, and it's going to be pushing people out as well.
Yeah, well, the higher end cards have gone up even more, like even more than just a couple hundred. So it's pretty crazy.
It's insane. Go on eBay and just check. Just look for a 3080. We're talking up to like $3,000. At least that was Canadian that I saw for a 3080. I found my card on there. Or it was a 1070 Ti for $1,000 Canadian. It's crazy. So John Carmack has commented on this issue. He's the legendary game dev, and I believe he works for Facebook now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Oculus. And he commented on this on Twitter, stating, quote, "Given shortages and speculators on things like the GeForce RTX 3090 GPUs and the new consoles, it seems like we really would be better off with a transparent auction system directly from manufacturers and a more efficient market." He went on, "The world of sales channels prevented this in the past, but we may be moving past that for a lot of products. There would be much indignation at reported prices out of the gate, but removing intermediaries should net out better for consumers in the end." And I completely disagree. I do not think that would work out well at all.
No.
I think it would be, you know what it'd be like? It'd be like those tuna auctions, like the first tuna auction of the year in Japan, where the first one gets sold for like literally $1 million type of thing. Like, not to mention the whole infrastructure that would be needed to do this. Maybe you could set it up on eBay or something, but it would just be awful. It's not like, what, do you think like scalpers wouldn't also auction, like buy them too in auction and then sell them for even more? Like it's...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like when NVIDIA makes a card, they sell that card to, let's just say, Gigabyte, and then Gigabyte sells that to retail, and then retail sells that to Scalper, and then Scalper sells that to you. Like, there's so many middlemen. Like, I get the idea of cutting out some of those middlemen because they all want to make a profit. These, NVIDIA or whoever and the AIB partners, they're not going to be making any friends if they're circumventing the retailers. And I don't really trust NVIDIA to be like, they've demonstrated that every company is all about the profit, but I wouldn't trust them to not just say, like, we're releasing these cards and they have no MSRP. Have at it. We're putting 5 out for auction today. Let's see how high these prices can get.
Yeah, how would you even get the volumes out in auction style? Like,
well, it wouldn't be. I mean, it would be. I mean, it's pretty similar to what's going on now. If you're rich, you could have bought a 3080 day one from a scalper.
Yep.
It's just,
I guess,
I mean,
it is that way now still.
This plan just means you're going to cut out some middlemen, but the cards are still going to be expensive, like really expensive.
It would be good for them, I guess, because then they'd make all that profit.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just be selling it at their sale price, original sale price. Yeah. No, I don't think it would be very good. They go on later in this article. It's a pretty long article. This is on Tom's Hardware, and it's titled "John Carmack proposes a way to fight GPU and console shortages." This isn't new for me. I fudge up reading things all the time.
You're the tech illiterate.
Anyways, not only tech illiterate, I also can't read. So at the bottom of this article, in the last 2 paragraphs, they talk about Apple and the way that Apple has kind of dealt with this whole situation in the past. Because at least a good thing from their already inflated prices is that they don't go above that typically. Like, there's obviously resale stuff. People buy, iPhones on day one and resell them, whatever. But it at least keeps the MSRP the same no matter where you go. So if you go into a Best Buy and you want an iPad, it's the same price as if you went to an Apple store, right?
Yep.
And I understand that NVIDIA is not going to open up brick and mortar shops just to sell GPUs or, NVIDIA Shields or whatever. But it would be good if they would actually enforce having cards near MSRP or having something relative to that, because I don't know. Maybe it's silly because of the board partners. They do put extra work into their cards. They have better cooling solutions in most cases. And there's a reason why it would be more expensive, but I don't know.
Well, in the middle of a global pandemic, I only had to wait like 2 weeks for my iPhone 12 Pro, and I didn't have to pay any extra for it. And I didn't have to like spam F5 or use a bot service or anything like that. I just was able to go on and I got one. Some people got them before me, but it wasn't just like out of stock. Sorry. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Apple gets a lot of flack from a lot of people who use PCs or Android phones or whatever else, but they know a lot about how to do all this stuff. I mean, Tim Cook was the supply chain guy before he was CEO. I read this book, I think it was by, I want to say Walter Isaac or something like that. I think the book's just called Steve Jobs. They go so much into how their company worked and everything. Like Tim Cook worked to get they had an issue where they had computers like sitting in warehouses for like 3 weeks or whatever, because, the factory would be operating at a different rate than people were buying them. But Tim Cook worked to get it down to like a couple days or something like that, like something really short. Like the things are coming in and they're going out immediately to customers. So they really know, they have a lot of know-how when it comes to that stuff. And I just think NVIDIA and like a lot of these other companies, Sony, Microsoft, they're not up to that level. All these companies want to be like Apple. They release like things in white or super slim or whatever, like all aluminum, but they're really not at that level when it comes to the full picture, this full supply chain and customer service and everything.
Yeah. And it's something that I've failed to appreciate until very recently, and learning more about Apple. And there's definitely things I really don't like about them, but one thing you can say is how well they've been able to produce products with regularity, and just the success, market success is unbelievable.
Yeah, we actually have an iMac arriving this week.
What? Really?
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Well, I'll let you know. It's not for me. It's for my wife. But we'll see. I think
so. She originally wasn't gonna buy anything expensive, but then decided we're gonna go beyond the budget.
Well, we leased it through our company, so it's actually not that bad.
You can lease it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you need a business,
so it's like a card.
Yeah, it's like a car. I mean, for businesses. I'm not going to go into a whole big tax thing, and I don't know too much about it, but our accountant tells us it's much better to lease hardware than to just buy it outright, because you can write it off as an expense or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
But anyway, so yeah, that's what we've done. I don't know. I'll talk about it more next week, I guess, when I get some time with it. But it's an Intel i7. It's got a 5K screen. It's got an AMD like 5300 XT or something in it. I don't know. Like an 8 gigabyte card. It seems like it's a little better than my old 570. Although if anybody had any plans to game on that at 5K, I don't think it's going to do very good.
I don't think so either. I got to give it to them, though. Their screens look amazing.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy.
They really do.
Yeah.
My friend was over last night. We were doing some music recording stuff. And he had his, what do you call it? It's like a Air, what do you call it? Mac Air or something?
MacBook Air.
MacBook Air. Yeah. Yes. This is how much I know about Apple stuff. And the screen looked incredible. It really did. And how everything kind of works together. You know, I'm sure they have strict rules about applications that get loaded onto iOS, or not iOS, but what do you call it? Mac OS? Yeah. And then it all just looks seamless. It looks good. But I have no idea how to do anything. We're trying to fix his Focusrite Scarlett. It's recording like a interface, and he was like, "It's just you got to change the whatever." Like I would be able to do that on Windows, and I was like, "I have no idea how to use this thing. I have no idea." Anyways,
yeah, I had that experience in the past too. I used to work in studios as like they call it a tea boy, just basically a guy who brings tea to the people who really know what they're doing. But I also got my hands on the computers, and I used to, I'm a computer guy, so I was helping a lot of studios switch from tape to computer based. And yeah, Macs used to just drive me bananas because it's just so different. Like, we're used to clicking install.exe and then going through a wizard or whatever. On Mac, at least back then, it was like drag an icon from this place to library, and then it's like installed or something somehow. Like it's weird. So, but anyways, yeah, I don't know. We also need a Mac because we're going to start developing an iOS app, and also need to test some of the other software we use on Mac OS before we go full into it. With like an M1 chip one or whatever.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll probably be remoting into it more than I'll be sitting in front of it.
Well, either way, I'm looking forward to hearing your experience with it.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Let's just finish up this top. Let's wrap it up. So as far as John Carmack's comment goes, I think his heart's in the right place. He's a very intelligent person. Personally, I don't think that would work out very well. But there's one comment on that Tom's Hardware article at the bottom. You can go check out the comments by Big Dragon. And they said, NVIDIA, AMD, and partners have all the tools they need to fix the problem. Sell the cards through GeForce Experience. Sell the cards via Steam or Epic. Sell the cards on storefronts that can 100% separate gamers from miners and limit quantities per account. If you want products to reach gamers, then sell the products on the platforms gamers use and have libraries, game time, friends, and all other sorts of data. These platforms can already limit digital item and DLC purchases per account. Sell the graphics cards using the right storefronts if you want to reach gamers. I think that's a brilliant idea. Why not? If they actually do.
I mean, yeah, I like the idea. I think Steam or Epic are going to want to cut. I think selling through GeForce Experience, not much different than selling through like NVIDIA.com, and we saw how that went. I mean, just because you run a crypto mining business doesn't mean you're not a gamer, I guess. But
yeah, and
I don't know.
Obviously, there's going to be ways around it.
Yeah,
but there could be ways to create like a hierarchy that would actually land this in the hands of gamers more frequently than as.
Yeah, I guess they just, I don't know how crypto miners are not really the issue, right? NVIDIA's giving them those cards. They're selling them directly.
Yeah.
The issue issue is people wanting to make a profit off of this. And they're using tools like bots or whatever to buy them before people who just want to buy them to own, and then they're reselling them. And, a lot of these people probably are gamers. Some of them are assistant managers at Canada Computers locations.
Yeah, it's true.
You're onto something there. I don't know that it's fully formed, but
no. It just seems like there's different avenues there. It's not like 100% blanket thing you could do, but it's different avenues that you could go down that would at least create roadblocks in ways that would help out the situation.
Yeah, but
obviously, NVIDIA is going to sell stuff to whoever they want. Their business, if they're going to sell the miners, they're going to sell the miners.
I don't think they care who they sell them to.
They don't care. They don't care. Like, obviously, they don't care. When they say that we're gamers through and through, it's like, didn't you like 2 months ago just sell it was like, what, $200 and something million worth of GPUs directly to miners? Oh, yeah, okay. Like, obviously they're not. It's all bullshit. Gotta write that down. And they just want to make a profit. And then I don't blame them for that.
Got to put a loony in the swear jar.
But yeah, I don't know where I lost my train of thought now.
Yeah, it's all pretty frustrating. Maybe we should move on.
Yeah. One point I want to say, though, about the whole auction thing, and even the way it is now, it seems like PC gaming has been a luxury of the upper class bourgeoisie aristocracy. PC master race has literally become an aristocracy. At least it will be if this continues. But anyways, I'm hoping that at least NVIDIA can rescind this whole thing, because it's not just the 3060 that's going to be nerfed. It's going to be, could be all of the cards in the future. And this is going to be what they do from now on. They have two separate lanes. They have literally just mining cards and gaming cards that really suck at mining. Hopefully they can crack through these barriers. The miners, I'm hoping the miners can crack through the barriers that NVIDIA is setting up to nerf the abilities of these to actually like their hash rates, but because I think in the end that'll be better. If we want that resale, we want the used cards. That's good for us.
Yeah, definitely.
So fingers crossed there. Hopefully they do the right thing. I don't think they will.
Well, it's also a little late. I'm sure you've seen those pictures on Reddit of rooms full of laptops sitting like upright in tent mode that are just mining all day. Because they've got the RTX cards in them, or chips or whatever. So yeah, it is a little late. You know, these cards are coming out Q1, Q2. And remember, NVIDIA's fiscal year is like later. So that doesn't mean... I think their Q1 ends at the end of April, maybe. So for the card with the 3060 like capabilities, that would be could be July maybe. I think crypto miners are going to find a way around that before then with the 3060.
Yeah, they definitely will. So, hey, hats off to you. If you're mining, hey, if you really need the cash, whatever. I'm so tired of talking about this.
Okay, let's move on then.
This podcast is brought to you by PIA. That's Private Internet Access. If you don't have a VPN yet, what are you doing? Don't be like me. Protect yourself. Get on the PIA. Make sure that they don't know what you're doing out there on the internets. You can use the affiliate link in the description to get the latest deals from PIA.
So there has been an update. The game that came out in 2004, World of Warcraft, now has updated its system requirements. It requires an SSD. This is the first I've heard of anything like this, other than maybe a PlayStation 5 game or something. Have you heard of this before? It being required.
No, I haven't.
Or you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, this story came out in September, actually, and I'm sure some people have heard about it. I didn't know. I didn't know about this. I saw this on Reddit. I was just scrolling through when I was on the throne one morning. And it's interesting. I actually asked about this because somebody said, yeah, you need a SSD. And I asked somebody, I was like, really? And they commented back. They said the game, it was insanely frustrating to play on a hard drive. Not sure about the current expansion, but the last one required a lot of traveling by portals. It was not uncommon to go through 3 or 5 portals in a couple minutes to reach your destination. With a hard drive, the load times was extremely long while loading on seconds on my SSD. So they posted a comparison, a link. This is on icy-veins.com. And they had a comparison between an SSD and an HDD reaching it says loading into Dalaran and reaching the Vindicar. I'm sorry, I don't know the names if I'm not pronouncing these right. But the SSD took 27 seconds while the hard drive took 76 seconds in their testing. So obviously that's annoying. And we know that's a problem with SSDs, with hard drives. And most people today gaming, you're going to have an SSD. I can't imagine very many people using a hard drive for gaming unless you have a really low budget build with a dedicated SSD just for your OS and then everything else on hard drive. But the fact that it is required is interesting.
Yeah, well, WoW is a pretty big game. I don't know what it's up to now, and I know like game sizes have ballooned in the past couple of years, but at one time it was like super big, and at one point all I had was like 120 gigabyte SATA SSD for my system, so I couldn't fit WoW on there as well. But actually, going back even farther, prior to SSDs, it used to be a big issue. In the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, Dalaran, which was this place, they decided... So WoW has these two factions, right? It's the Alliance and the Horde. And you don't generally see each other all that much unless you're passing in some place. There's a couple of PvP zones or whatever where you might see each other. But usually you're hanging around in your own home city. So during this one expansion, it's like there's a problem that's affecting the whole world. So the base of operations is going to be this one floating city called Dalaran, and everybody's going to be there. So everybody from one faction, everybody from the other faction are all in this same area, it's not even an instance because it's, the world is sort of like continuously streaming or whatever. It was so ridiculously slow. Like, I can't even believe it. I didn't have the greatest PC back then. I don't even remember what my card was. It was some maybe it was an ATI card. But anyway, nobody in my guild had any good times in Dalaran. The frame rate was like 1 frame every 3 seconds because there were just so many characters on screen or whatever, and so many people around that when you're walking around, it felt like you were wading through soup or something. So we just call it the soup because you're just
the soup,
just wading around, walking around in slow motion. It was so weird, and you had to be there all the time to do different stuff and get quests or whatever. But yeah, I mean, we've got it pretty good now. I think even on a hard drive, you'd probably be fine. A load screen is fine. You can get up and go have a smoke or whatever. You take a leak.
Go have a vape.
A vape, yeah. It's interesting though. It's you don't really hear about that anymore. We're now crying if we're not getting hundreds of frames a second. But it is cool. It is cool that games are at least taking advantage of SSDs. Making it a requirement is pretty cool. I know I definitely had experiences in Overwatch when I first got an SSD where I definitely felt like I was loading into the hero select screen before everybody else because I always got first pick, compared to when I was on hard drive.
That's where it makes a difference right now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. Hopefully we see more of it so we can take advantage of it. I'm still waiting for direct storage.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to the changes that are going to be made with really fast storage.
Yeah.
You can't even buy, I'm sure you can, I'm sorry. Let's not talk in absolutes here, but most
only
computers you buy.
In absolutes.
Yeah, even low-end laptops have SSDs. I say low-end, mid, you know what I mean? A $500 laptop, which is not a gaming laptop at all, has an SSD because it's just cheaper. They can mass produce these SSDs, stick them in there, not even having them removable, and you have a better computer for it too. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, we have a laptop. It was, on the page, the Best Buy page or wherever we bought it, it said SSD, but actually it's like an eMMC drive or something like that, which is slower than an SD card. It was just the worst. But thankfully I cracked it open and there was a SATA M.2 slot there. So I put in the WD Blue, and that now it's working like great.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see what's inside of laptops these days. Like, so I opened up my laptop. I think I talked about it recently, but I just posted the video finally this weekend about just replacing thermal paste on a laptop. It's just a how-to, whatever. Just to see, that's like an older laptop that came out, I think it was 2014 from Lenovo, and it's what I expect to be in a laptop. Removable SATA SSD. You have the smaller, what do they call it, SODIMM?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. RAM, etc., whatever. But now when you open up a laptop, a new one, so like you would see in these new 3000 series RTX laptops, is that now you have, you don't even have a 2.5 inch SATA slot. You have 2 or 3 M.2 slots. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you don't even have options to have this. Well, you can still have SATA M.2, but that's awesome. I think that's really cool. So even in mid-range gaming laptops, you're going to have fast storage. So I really want to see developers take advantage of that. So I got my fingers crossed, hoping that Sony developers, especially their first-party studios, are going to show us what it can do. Get creative with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, looking forward to that. So let's move on. What have we got next? Oh, something about Xbox Game Pass. So this is, it's an Xbox thing, but it's also on PC. Turns out that Sega is really happy with Xbox Game Pass. So I've been wondering, I think many people have been wondering, like when a publisher puts a game on one of these like all-you-can-eat services like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass, like how, like, is this really helping you out? As I would imagine for the indies, maybe they're probably getting like something up front and it's probably helping them out quite a bit. But Sega's pretty big. And, you'd think that if Sega releases a game, it's going to get a lot more coverage than some little indie whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, speaking on behalf of Sega, Senior Vice President Anna Downing said, "We're really happy with the results and we hope Microsoft is too. Ultimately, they wanted quality titles. We wanted to take advantage of a great new opportunity. Xbox Game Pass helped propel the 2 Point Hospital franchise to over 3 million players worldwide. That's a huge benefit of being on Game Pass. It strengthens the exposure you get to a huge first-party audience. That surge in engagement, in turn, helps to further establish your product in the marketplace. It's great for us, and it's great for consumers who get to experience something they may not have engaged with outside of the Game Pass model." So that's pretty interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, it is interesting. And the whole Game Pass thing, it's something I have used. It's not something I'm currently subscribed to. When I had an Xbox, I did use it, and I used it regularly. It was really a good way to play games that were older that I wanted to play, so I didn't have to pay whatever it was, $10 or $20 to buy Fable or whatever. But I don't know. It makes me. I don't know how to put it into words, but it makes me worrisome about the future of gaming.
Oh,
when we start to see this, like, is Steam going to start doing this? Have a Steam Game Pass or something?
I don't know that Steam will do anything ever. They seem to just sit around and, the money keeps coming in. They don't seem to really react to Epic showing up. Like, have they done much? They've done like a little bit of a redesign, but they're not giving away free games every week or anything like Epic is.
No. They were busy making that new Half-Life game.
Half-Life Alyx?
Yeah.
That's something. It's not something everybody can enjoy, though. It's not. The Valve Index is so expensive. Yes, you can buy an older VR headset, but I don't know. It's not. Yeah, Anyway,
The comments we get here from the senior vice president, I just don't know. I don't even understand how. Like, I don't get it. I don't know. Like what? It's good for them because they feel like more people are getting to the games, essentially.
so yeah, so they released a game called 2 Point Hospital, and 3 million people played it through Game Pass.
Okay.
Which is pretty crazy. Like, because maybe you'd release that and nobody buys it because you're just kind of like, oh, what's that? But because everybody gets it as part of their Game Pass subscription, which, I think is a really good deal even for just PC. There's 3 million players and people might find out, oh, I really like this series. And maybe when the next game comes out, or I don't know, maybe there's DLC in it, like Sega gets the benefit from that. So, I mean, it seems to be working for them, which is cool. I'd like to hear from a smaller developer.
And I think it highly depends on the kind of curation that happens too, because when you go on Game Pass, it'll put games in your face unless you go searching for something, right? So I think that they can have power over the people who are, allowing their games to be on Microsoft Game Pass.
Well, I mean, it's the same with any store, right? If you go into Steam, it's the same thing.
That's true. I wonder what really propelled it. Was it the fact that it was on Game Pass, or was it the fact that, hey, there was some popular streamer who, made it pop, so to speak? Because that seems to happen with a lot of games. What's that one that's really popular now? Valheim. It's like a survival game, like Viking survival game. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I think so.
That one's cracking off. But anyways, yeah, I'm happy for them that it worked for them. But like you said, I'm curious to see what smaller indie developers' experiences are.
Yeah, well, it's it's for me, it's definitely working. Like, as a consumer, like it's so great that I still pay for it every month. It's almost $20 Canadian, I think. But I still feel the value. It's still there. Soon there will be even more stuff. A bunch of EA games will come to PC. I don't really use my Xbox One S anymore. I currently have my PS4 hooked up, and I'm playing Gran Turismo Sport. But it's pretty good. I still think it's a pretty good deal, and especially as we've been promised a lot of like day one Xbox exclusives coming to the service for PC and Xbox Series S. I'm really looking forward to that. Like, when the next Forza Motorsport comes out, it's going to be on Game Pass. The next Halo. Like, there was a stream sometime last year where Xbox showed all these new games, and they're like, every one of these games is coming to Xbox the day it's released. So, you start doing the math. If you normally spend like $80 on one game, like, that's 4 months of Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just trying to think up reasons of why I would be against it. Because, like, in the back of my mind, there's some kind of bias that's pulling at me that's saying, like, I don't really like it that much. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that it's something like Netflix, where certain shows or movies get removed because of, whoever owns the rights to that. Obviously, Microsoft own a lot of publishers, and they own a lot of IP that they can keep on there. But there's some comfort in the fact knowing when you own a game and that you can come back to it however many years later and still have the same saves or something, right?
I get that. I think I did buy Forza 7 because I think there was like a super deluxe edition or something like that. And with one of the benefits of Game Pass is that you also get discounts if you want to actually buy the game. And especially, when a game is leaving the service, there's generally a discount for you to buy it on. Also, if you keep a game installed on your computer or Xbox, even after it leaves the service, you can continue to play it.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's working out for Sega. I'm just hoping that we get to see a really awesome new game from them.
From Sega?
Without any killer whales, please. Save the killer whales. I don't want those in my games. They scare the crap out of me.
What game has that?
They had a Sonic game. I think it was for Dreamcast. It had Killer Whale.
Okay.
And it scarred me as a child.
Okay.
Any games with like water levels, like even Mario in Super Mario 64, swimming around with like sharks and stuff, I'm like, I can't handle it. In the pre-show, we were talking about like spelunking, like cave diving, and how that real life stuff freaks me out. Well, in games, yeah, the water levels freak me out.
Okay.
Minecraft, for whatever reason, no, it doesn't. But yeah, anyways.
Okay, shall we head to listener mail?
Yes, let's talk about listener mail, and we do have one other topic that I want to touch on a bit, but we'll talk about the listener mail first.
Okay.
This is from Alex. He says, "Hello, greetings from Sweden. I am new to PC gaming and am wondering if it is a good time to get into the hobby. I have heard that certain computer parts are rather expensive right now. Thank you."
Wow.
Much like I told my friend who was interested in buying a new graphics card back in September, if you're happy paying the prices at which they are, and if you can find a GPUs are the ones that are going to be most expensive, your graphics card, then yeah, absolutely get into it. I think that's going to be the deciding factor. But if you are going to be building, buy the graphics card first, because other parts are going to be much easier to find.
Maybe. I mean, those new AMD CPUs sound like they're tough to find as well.
Yes, but you have an alternative at least.
Yeah, I would say maybe look at pre-builts right now, depending on what if you're really interested in building your own thing, like go nuts. But pre-builts might be a good option for now. It's a way to get the whole computer all at once, so you're not just sitting around waiting for a certain part because it's impossible to find. So it might be one option. But, if you had asked us like 2 months ago, is it a good time to get into PC gaming? Are things too expensive now? We would have said, yeah, it's not a great time to get into it. Things are too expensive. But, and wait a little while. But here, if you had waited, waited 2 months, everything is getting even more expensive. So I don't know when these prices are going down. It seems like they're going up for the near future. 3060s, like the retail, it's happening at retail. It's not just scalpers anymore. They're boosting all the prices. So yeah, maybe a pre-built might be something something for you. Check out Linus Tech Tips YouTube channel. They did their Secret Shopper series not long ago, which was very good.
That was good.
So you can see which companies that deliver pre-built computers they would recommend based on their experience.
Mm-hmm. And there are really great pre-builds out there, and with great prices too. You can often pay less with a pre-build as opposed to buying all the parts individually and building it. I have a good friend of mine, and he loves PC gaming. He games like every day. Has many hours in one particular game, and I won't out him here and how many hours he spent in that game.
In Rocket League?
No.
Okay.
But he's a friend who does like pre-builds as well, but this is a different friend who has no idea what's inside his computer. But he buys pre-built desktop computers from other friends, from Craigslist. Oh, that's so funny. What just popped up on my Steam right now.
He's playing?
What you mentioned. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but yeah, it's a great option. You can get really great PCs that are pre-built. But if you're really hell-bent on building one yourself, I highly encourage it. It's a great way to know the inside of your PC, how things are working, how they're put together. It's not hard. It really isn't. You can go, I think there's a Verge video that really helps out if you want to, how to build a computer.
No. The best how to build is the XQC stream. we're joking. These are both two examples of people like giving bad advice. Yeah, I don't know. You can watch like Linus Tech Tips is a really good channel. Gamers Nexus is a really good channel.
Yeah.
I don't know who else.
But anyway, yeah,
it's Bitwit.
Hardware Unboxed, yeah. It's a great way, like I said, to know how to troubleshoot things too if there's a problem later on.
Yeah.
Which it happens, and it's fun to diagnose. That's part of the fun for me, at least, and I know much of the community. Diagnosing problems is fun. It's not just, and it can be frustrating at times when you can't figure it out, but it's part of the hobby. It's part that I like. I like doing that. I mean, that's why I started the YouTube channel. Much of the videos I do are just tinkering, not because I just want to post a video. It's because I like doing it. I like figuring this stuff out on my own. Even if there's a dozen videos on the same subject, I don't care. I want to try it. I want to see what happens when I tinker with it. So yeah, is it a good time to buy? Final answer, if you're happy paying the prices, and that's always going to be what it's going to be. But it is expensive right now.
Yeah.
And it's going to go down eventually.
Hopefully.
Likely. Yeah, hopefully and likely.
Yeah, pretty likely, especially if there's like some massive economic depression or something.
Everything's going to be much cheaper. But anyways, thank you for the message. If any of you listening right now are interested in sending an email, go ahead. You can go to tilliterate@gmail.com, or you can go just on the YouTube channel, Tech Illiterate, and go to one of our previous podcasts or this podcast and just leave a comment in the questions and we'll answer it here. There's one more news story I do want to talk about briefly, and this is from Tom's Hardware, is the 7-screen Aurora A7 laptop. It costs up to $20,000 US, and this luggable workstation has 4 17.3-inch 4K monitors, 2 9.7-inch 1536p monitors, and a 7-inch touchscreen below the number pad. And under the hood, each laptop will have 128 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, as well as 8 terabytes of PCIe NVMe and SATA storage. I don't know how much of each is in there of the 8 terabytes, but darn, this is going to be one heck of a machine.
It's going to be one heck of a machine to carry around. It's it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen since the movie Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. And I'm not comparing it to the movie. I'm comparing it to, like, in the movie, the bad guys. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but there's these bad guys and they're like some kind of like spy organization. I think they're there to steal art or something. And at one point, this guy like opens a briefcase and pulls out this computer, and it's kind of like a laptop, but he opens the screen and then folds out another screen and another screen, and another screen, and another screen. And it's just one of those things where, like, when you're watching it, it's like, why did they need that? Like somebody, you just try to imagine like the director or producer talking to the production designer, and, they come, oh, well, this is the laptop the bad guy's going to use in this scene. And the director is like, no. It can't be, like, it has to look super technical. Like, add like 6 more screens on there.
Yeah, it looks like a tough book, and they've just like jerry-rigged a bunch of screens on there. And thinking about just the pixels that this thing has, it has 4 4K monitors and 2 1536p, so that's more than the pixels that I have the screen in front of me. 2 of those, and then a 7-inch touchscreen. Like, it's pushing so many pixels, and this is obviously not going to be something for gaming or anything like that, but I can imagine this would be useful for somebody who's, say, going up to the North Pole to do some research or something. It could be a luggable workstation, essentially.
Yeah, or if you're going to Mars, or maybe launching a Mars rover from, maybe this is like a NASA work from home kind of setup. Yeah, it's impressive. Or if you, I don't know, maybe if you're someone who just likes to watch many things at the same time, it could be something useful to you. If you've got money burning a hole in your pocket up to $20,000, maybe you can make use of it. I feel like, couldn't you just get a big screen, like a really big screen? Right. That's what I'm thinking. Like, all of these little crazy screens all add up to just like one one big monitor.
Yeah. So definitely look this up. We have all the links in the notes there. You can definitely check this out. But it has like a typical laptop. It's got another screen above the normal screen in portrait. And then on the side, it has two has two portrait on the side. It has Matt, help me out here.
I wasn't paying attention because you were just going off.
let me try again. It's got a laptop. It's got landscape mode, and then it's got another landscape mode above that. And on the sides, it has two portrait.
Yeah.
And then above those portraits, it's got the smaller ones sticking out in landscape.
Yeah.
It looks crazy. I'm just wondering how much it weighs because it doesn't say in the article how much this thing weighs.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine having to use that many monitors. But like you said, maybe it is for someone who works for NASA, some kind of engineer or something like that. Because at least in the images they have here, it's just a bunch of matrix type looking stuff. Looks like they're running Windows XP or something on it. With the blue bars on the top.
I'm sure it's some kind of Linux or something.
Yeah.
Some kind of science Linux.
Have you ever used Linux?
Sorry, have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty.
I've never tried it.
Really? Not even on like a Raspberry Pi or something?
Nope.
Wow.
Not yet. Maybe it's something I need to experience in the near future.
I've done quite a bit. I use, I've developed like multimedia displays for museum exhibitions. And when the Raspberry Pi came along, that was like the savior. Because we used to like use Windows PCs and they'd always crash. It was the worst. Yeah, Linux is rock solid. You can, and especially the Raspberry Pi is just an amazing device. You can just set it up to do anything. It's my home DNS server. It blocks ads for me using Pi-hole, which is really easy to set up.
Pi-hole?
Yeah, it's called Pi-HOLE. It's something you can install on a Raspberry Pi. You just plug that Pi right into your router and give it a static IP, and then tell your router to use that static IP as your DNS server. And then all traffic on your network will be like filtered for, like it'll take the ads out. Doesn't work for YouTube, unfortunately.
Huh.
But there are other ways to do that. If you want to be a jerk.
If you want to be a jerk. Yeah. That's one thing I've definitely changed my mind on. Not recently, but maybe a year or two ago, was just leaving ad blocker out, especially when I'm on YouTube.
Yeah, I do my best to keep it off when I'm on YouTube. I mean, I do support people on Patreon, including you. Even though...
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, like, I mean, if it's somebody... If I'm just flipping to like a PewDiePie video or whatever, the ad blocker's on, man. Like, I'm not watching your 80 mid-roll ads. I mean, I'm not really watching his videos anyway, but...
yeah, there's a fine line there.
It's mostly like the whole YouTube and Google like frog boiling strategy that they've had going on for like the past 15, 20 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, as Google started out in a time where ads were pop-ups and they were flashing GIFs and stuff, and they were just awful. Google comes along with AdWords, and they're very simple, tasteful, little text-only ads. And it was like, everybody's like, this is fine. We can live with this. I remember saying like, how great this is. You know, it doesn't bother me at all. And I mean, look at it over time, like YouTube had no ads and then they had ads, but you know, you can skip every single ad after 2 seconds, no problem. And then it was 3 seconds, then it was 5 seconds, and then there were mid-roll ads, and then there are multiple ads in each ad thing. And then, you know, we're at a point now where even videos that don't qualify for ads, YouTube is putting ads on them. People who don't want ads on their videos, YouTube is putting ads on them. Like, it's just out of hand.
Yeah, it's an easy way for them to bump up the revenue. in like just a click of a button, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, what would it be? So if I released a video and I decided not to monetize it, would there still be ads on it and I just wouldn't get the money?
It sounds like it, based on like the most recent, news story I heard about a number of months ago.
Or maybe it's just for people who aren't partnered that they've automatically have ads on, because it's a delicate thing. The decision to put ads in my videos didn't come easy, but once Google did that and they decided we're going to put ads on any video anyways, I was like, well, I might as well, monetize my videos. And I'm not saying I make a lot of money on YouTube or anything. It's not much, but I make double, triple, probably quadruple in a day on YouTube as much as I get from Patreon right now in a month. So and I don't go spamming with the ads. I make skippable ads, and that's it. When you go to some videos, they're non-skippable ads to start. They'll have a mid-roll, non-skippable ad, and then a post-roll, non-skippable ad. It gets intrusive, like too much, like you said.
Yeah, I don't mind a mid-roll if it's in a long video and it's put in the right place. Like, Red Letter Media videos, they're an hour long and they have like a break. It fades to black. It's between two segments and they've got some ads. That's fine. Yeah. But somebody, like, they just sprinkle them in, like they just randomly put a bunch of them. Like there's some channel, I can't remember what it's called. It's like Apple Insider or something like that. They run a bunch of channels, but they just sprinkle them through randomly. There's like 6 ads in a 10-minute video. Like, it's just, get out of here.
Okay. So I got two things to talk about on that point is, so my girlfriend, she watches, I don't know what she watches with Bachelorette or something through like CTV app or something.
Okay. And
the amount of ads and repetitive ads, I hear in the background, repetitive ads is insane. Like that one guy who played the boss in the IT crowd. I can't remember the actor's name, but his voice, I can hear his voice.
Matt something.
Yeah, from the one ad that gets played constantly. But then again,
Matt Berry, maybe?
We watched TV recently, and the amount of time you watch the program versus the advertising break is insane. It's like, oh, you get to watch the show for 2 minutes? Okay, we have a 5-minute ad break. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad.
The ratio has just gone completely nuts. And I know the repetitive ad thing. Like, we watch Kim's Convenience. Do you know that show? It's a CBC show.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic show. It's on Netflix, at least I think the first so many seasons. Or maybe it's not in the States, who knows, or other parts of the world. But anyway, we use the CBC Gem app, which is I'm pretty sure it's a Canada-only thing. But every commercial break is like it's the same 2 commercials every time. Like, it's just... Yeah.
So repetitive.
Yeah.
And speaking of ads, if you don't want ads on this podcast, you can head over to Tech Illiterate Patreon and support us over there just for $2 a month. You can get access to the ad-free podcast. And I think we're going to end it here, and we're going to talk in the after show about a few things. So if you want to hear the pre-show and the after show, you can go to the Patreon, and you can subscribe to us there, and you can get access to that as well. So, thank you to those who are supporting us on Patreon. And if you're not, that's okay too. We're glad to have you, and I'm happy to have you listen. And I'm so happy, all you people who subscribe to me on YouTube. It keeps growing every day, and every time I go to check my messages, there's so many there, I can't answer them all. I read them all, but I can't answer them all at this point. I'm sure at some point in the future,
he's too famous. If
luck is on my side or whatever, I don't know. It's very humbling and it's scary at the same time. I remember when it was like one of the first, or not the first, but in the first month of starting this YouTube channel, I posted one, and I came home after work. And this is after a few weeks of losing a subscriber, gaining a subscriber, losing a subscriber, back and forth, like no movement at all. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, you gained 50 subscribers today. And I was like, huh? It kind of freaked me out. And it still freaks me out every day. I don't know. It's weird. And to think of how big some people have gotten, and even to see this channel grow, and it's just past 2,500 subscribers is a weird in itself. So thank you to all you guys who are listening. Really appreciate it. And I hope you At least bring you some entertainment, if nothing else. Anyways. See, Matt's just laughing at me because I don't know what to say.
Dead air.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. This has been Off and On again. Thanks again for listening.
Thanks.